Oh, Smiley. No. Hello and welcome to the Cosmic Prayer. I've had a little bit of a technology blip. It's okay though, because I did my Cosmic Prayer and here I am now. So welcome in. It's great to be here. My name is Laura and I'm here every Monday at this time, inviting an inspirational guest who is somebody that I really admire as a minister, a speaker, a thought leader, practitioner, a change agent, somebody that really that knows. Most of my guests that come on here, the guests that come on here, have a deep understanding of prayer and how prayer works for them and how they teach prayer and how they use prayer for their lives and their communities. And so, of course, we're here on New Thought Media Network. This is a wonderful focus, global, virtual, online ministry that is serving the world by sharing programming that inspires us to look into our hearts and to use these amazing tools that have been passed down to us through the New Thought philosophy, whether that's unity or science of mind, or even divine science. We know that New Thought is a very varied, mixed kind of assortment of tools and practices, and yet we have the same integral beliefs, and that is that there is one divine power and presence that is both transcendent and immanent. And we use prayer because we know that it works, affirmative prayer, to demonstrate a life that is fulfilled and meaningful for us as individuals and for the planet. So my guest today is somebody that I know really well, and I hold her so dearly in my heart, Reverend Laura Rosewood, who is the assistant minister at CSL Gulf Coast in Florida. And Reverend Laura took all of her educational training through the Florida campus, Center for Spiritual Living Orlando, which is the Florida campus for education. And so I've known Laura for a while and really love Laura, Reverend Laura. And I know that she's coming here today to shine her light because she is an incredible speaker and teacher and leader. And I know that whatever she shares is true from her heart. And I'm excited. So I'm going to welcome Reverend Laura Rosewood onto the Cosmic Prayer. Hello. Hi. Welcome.
It's great to be here. Thanks for that. Welcome.
Well, I'm really grateful that you're here and that you've said yes to being here to share your idea of prayer and how prayer really informs your life. And I'm going to ask you from, a question about, to begin with, what it is about prayer that you believe is the piece that, why prayer? Why prayer?
Wow.
Yeah.
Prayer is the way to have everything work for you. It's that time of being connected with everything that is, with God, with Spirit. And then I don't feel that I have to do everything. Prayer allows me to state what I believe, what I know that I desire, what I know the world is meant to be. And then I let go and I let God. And that is, to me, that's the most important thing, is that prayer allows me to set that intention and that focus. And then I don't have the anxiety of trying to make it happen. Because that's not my job.
And what about when our lives aren't going the way that we think it should be going, and the experience that we're living isn't one that we believe should be happening? How do you believe that prayer can really assist us? And that faith that we have, that we're being called to really lean in on in the
Yeah.
invisible and in our words, in the word. How do you believe prayer can really help us during these times, those times, and specifically now?
Yeah. For me, prayer, especially when I do science of mind treatment, those first two steps that recognize God, recognize that all there is God, and that I am an expression of God, that takes me out of my monkey mind. And
Right.
even if I decide to go back after I pray, in that time I have that peace of knowing that all is well. That I'm sure you felt this, but this is what I feel when I get into that prayer and I am really focusing on the divine and that amazing big presence that is, there's this peace and calm that just fills me. I can feel it coming down. You get the meditation thing of feeling this golden light come through you. I feel this presence of calm and peace. And it just allows me to lighten up. It's such a different feeling than being caught up in everything that's going on outside and around, whether it's in my personal life or in the world. It gives me that moment to let go of that and trust that God's got this.
Hmm.
And I wish I could leave it at that. But once you get back in the world, you want to take it back on. It's like, no, stay with the prayer and know that God's got it.
That for me, what you've just said is really, it's the peace, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
I know that I do my spiritual mind treatment, and then I feel it, and then, oh, I want to dig up the plant and just check that the seed has sprouted underneath and into the
Mhm.
soil. And how do you stop yourself from that? How do we stop ourselves from that? Especially, this has been such a week
Mhm.
of really heart-wrenching, devastating situations and experience, and lives, young lives that have those children. How do we, their lives taken? How can we say, oh, pray and it's okay? It's That may seem quite like a bit of a bypass.
Well, and it's not that we're saying it's okay. For
Right.
me, it's trusting that it's working out, that there's some kind of good behind it. And I know it may sound Pollyanna, but it's something that helps me not go down that rabbit hole. Is I'm knowing the truth that whatever's going on, there is going to be good to come from it. I just have to get through what I'm seeing,
Yeah.
because in all of these times, I was so amazed by how many shootings there have been. I mean, there was a whole list of every school that I saw.
Yeah.
And in all these times and all of the horrendous things that we do, something good comes of it. Even if it's just the outpouring and the deeper connection with between the people involved closest to it. But there's also all that outpouring of love to each other. We start to appreciate where we are and what we have in our life and know that, my gosh, yes, that could happen here, but I'm grateful and I
Mhm.
know that life is good here and I know that life will be good. there. And it really helps to have those prayers when they're for someone else. That just shifts your whole attitude. It expands that love because there's that deeper connection. It's like, yes, I'm connected to God and I'm treating for this, but I'm connected to the greater humanity. So that's what I'm looking at. Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you. Wow, Reverend Laura. And that piece that you've just said about that really just struck my heart. If there's good here, there's good everywhere. And as humans, I think we tend to separate ourselves off into something other than, and that this infinite is, it can't be good in one place and not good in another place. And yet that's not the nature of how it works, is it?
No, there's always good. And we have to keep ourselves from separating from that, and remember that that good is in the heart. I may not like what I'm seeing out there, but that good is in the heart. That good is in the people that are involved, in the circumstances. And I have to look with love and pray for those that I'm not happy with.
Yeah.
I learned this so long ago when I would get really angry. And then I realized I'm sending all that energy there. And I'm recreating what I don't want to see. So I just step back and pray in that love, and knowing that that goodness in that person or that event is it's bubbling up. It's there, and we're able to see it. Yeah.
Right. And I was reading recently this. It just the word pattern has been in coming to me quite regularly in the past few weeks. The patterns of thoughts that we have, and how the patterns of thoughts can kind of they culminate together to make the effect. And we don't know necessarily what these patterns are. They're held in our subconscious. And so when we're praying, would you say that we are able to, because we see these things that are happening and think, how on earth can this be happening? How on earth can that, and yet we're in the free will. We have this free will. And so when we're working on when we're praying and doing our prayer work, do you believe that we can really unravel those patterns within a spiritual mind treatment, within that 5-step process, and go deep into our subconscious and really make that change for our lives?
Yes, I really do, because that's the point, is we're connect, and we're not doing it with just our humanness. When we're in that treatment, we are connected to the bigger all that is, and to everyone else, to everyone that's already made that connection, that it's deeper. I can resolve this within me. That power is all there with us in that treatment. And when we're affirming that that's who we are, this is the reality that is true, this is the love that is here now, we feel that, and it shifts us. And it may not shift us fully in one treatment, one prayer, but the more that we know this and we connect to that knowing, the deeper it goes. And the more we express it, and the more we are it, and the less, and that ripples out. Every time that we do a prayer or a treatment for ourselves, for the world, for anyone, that energy, that God wisdom is touching each person out there. It expands my heart if I'm treating for myself. It touches a person that I may be treating for. It touches a whole event that I may be treating for, because I'm sending that love, because it's not here and there. It's all here. And so that's expanding. And
Yes.
we can't go wrong. We can't.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not here and there.
Mm-mm.
So what about, because this is also been, I'm just really interested in this. I'm interested in habits and how we have our human habits and, you know, our conditioning of things that we do because we think, like, I have a habit of getting up in the morning, making a cup of tea. And sometimes I think, oh, I wish I'd be in the habit of making a mint tea rather than tea, you know, first thing in the morning. Do you believe that by using spiritual mind treatment, which is the form of prayer that we use as New Thought, religious scientists, science of mind students and teachers here, do you believe that praying using treatment can be an effective way to pray on changing habits without actually having to make the effort to change the habit as well? I've really been pondering this because I've been reading it takes about 66 days. They
Well,
did a research in the UK to
uh,
actually change that habit. Do you believe that treatment could do it without having to be conscious of the habits as well?
I'm sure it can. However,
I love that.
I mean, we constantly say treat and move your feet. And
Right.
that tells, because there is that law out there that is working for our good. When we treat and say, this is the new habit I want, the universe says yes. When we treat and say, this is the new habit I want, and then we actually do it, in my mind, the universe says, all right, she really is serious about this, and more
Okay.
opportunities come up. There, we have to participate. That treatment sends out that love, but for changes in our life, we need to participate and
Yes.
do those do the new habit. Line up all the different teas so you can pick a different one each.
That's what I'm going to do tomorrow morning and let you know. And I think this is really powerful because it again puts the responsibility back into our own hands, into our own heart, where we're not praying because it's a wish or it's a dream out there. We're the ones praying and then saying, okay, and I'm ready to take that action, that inspired action, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really believe that when you're treating, you're saying that prayer and you're saying what your life will be. I want to wake up at 6 o'clock every morning and do my treatment. Well, I've got to set my alarm for 6 o'clock. But if it's something different, if it's a wanting to expand my circle of friends, well, I treat for that and know I am just surrounded by magnificent people. And then I have to get out of the house and I have
Right.
to find a place to allow those people to show up in my life, because they will show up. So, I'm moving in this direction and something will happen. And as long as I'm aware and know that I want to have more of these people in my life, someone's going to talk to me when I'm not expecting it, or I'm going to be inspired to talk to someone off the cuff, where personally I don't do that real easy. But it's going to happen because I'm going to be inspired and guided to do this. But I have to put that in motion with my prayer and with my knowing and staying in that awareness and that connection.
Thank you so much for reminding me and us of that, because that's just a confirmation that we're one, and the prayer is a part of, the action is a part of, it's all one. It's all one behavior: praying, taking action, feeling into it.
Yeah.
And And I have another question on that, but I just wanted to just say hi to Laurie. She's here with us right now. Welcome, Laurie.
Hello.
Good morning. We're here with Reverend Laura Rosewood, who is a wonderful spirit soul, a dear colleague and friend of mine, and is the assistant minister at CSL Gulf Coast in Florida, and here to share her understanding of prayer. And Wayne, yes, hello, Wayne. Great to be here with you again. Welcome to the show today. Living Faith in Oneness, of course. And Fiona. Good evening, Fiona. Salutations, yes, from Geneva. Great. Love this. Treat and move your feet. There we go. It is a great mantra. Treat and move your feet. So, Reverend Laura, I'm interested in would you be willing to share for me and for those that are joining right now, to share how prayer has worked for you? If there's a demonstration that you can say, oh my gosh, this happened, this was amazing. And it may be unexpected.
The things that come to mind are they're the small things that have been amazing for me. Excuse me. I am challenged at times for those difficult conversations. And I always treat before I have to have that. And I am amazed at how easy those conversations happen. Whatever was bothering me just seems to fall away. By being in that treatment, I've let go of whatever negative thought I may have had around the subject. And my energy is different, that the other person that I'm talking to doesn't have that same negative response or way of dealing with me. It has been the best thing that I ever learned to do, is every time treat before I have that conversation. And I've had some really challenging ones to do. And just, I was in a relationship, and we had went our separate ways, but we needed to work through something, let go of some things. And doing that treatment, everything went so smoothly. And I realized afterwards, he wasn't any different. But I was not triggered because I had come in and said, okay, let this be a time of peace and easy communication. And it was like, wow. And of course, in the midst of the communication, I'm thinking, wow, he's really changed. This is amazing. We're communicating so easily. And then I think later, I go, wait a minute. He said all the same things. But I didn't react because I had already set that space by praying and knowing that this was a peaceful, calm, productive conversation. And I had another experience that really cracked me up, because I am not a consumer, and I am not a salesperson. And I had a job at Dillard's where I was selling things. And I would always treat before I went in. I treated that I wanted to have a good day there, and it was amazing. Someone came in, and I sold like $3,500 of things to this person, and I'm going, oh my God, I never do this. But it was amazing to just shift and be okay with doing that. And there's the prayers for wisdom and how to deal with things that are challenging. I'm helping my mother right now, and I get frustrated because of the memory loss. And I treated, and I had this awareness that I really wasn't that upset about the memory loss. This was old stuff that was working its way out. But I would have stayed in that pattern of being frustrated with the memory loss and what's going on if I hadn't have treated for the wisdom to respond differently and have gotten just that aha of going, oh, this is old
Wow.
resentment. Time to let that go.
Wow.
And working through that, it's like, wow, things are so much easier. So it may not, for me, it hasn't been the monster big thing. It's been the day-to-day amazing ways that it has let my life be easier. And
Yes.
yeah.
And I really think that that is so valuable what you're sharing, because I think too often our human nature can be, I really want this amazing big kind of thing to happen, an experience to happen for my life, and it kind of gets blown up into this amazing like movie. And yet there is the day to day, every day, communicating with ourselves, with our loved ones, with people that we're around, working, community. And I think what you've just shared is really powerful, because we can often skip over those
Mm.
things and think, no, I'm only interested in this. And it's great. The detail is important, isn't it, of our lives, how
Yeah.
we're being in the day to day, in the minute by minute.
Well, and when you do those treatments, you're building that practice, you're building that consciousness, and you're setting your awareness up to notice things that are going to improve your life. Going, okay, I need a garage when I move, and I'm finding a place online. It's like, okay, I found this place and it's going to work, but I really need a garage. I'm a treat for a garage. And they turn around and say, well, you can use the garage if you'll do this. I go, okay, that's good. And it's little things that I love that, because it raises my vibration. I feel better, and I recognize when the prayer has been answered. And
Right.
that inspires me to continue praying and knowing that I am co-creating. It's not
Yes.
just creating that one big event. I'm constantly creating that life I desire.
Yes, because when we're treating, we're unraveling those patterns that would keep us stuck in a place
Mm-hmm.
of not being able to even see it or receive it when it does come, as it does come. And it's here always, isn't it? It's here all the time.
And
So yeah.
yeah, don't you think part of that too is when you're in that prayer and you have chosen, this is the life I want, I've done my treatment, you've opened your heart, you've opened your eyes, and you can see what was already there and going, oh,
Yes.
how did I miss that? That was right there. And now you can, take advantage of it and have what you're praying for.
Yes, and that's incredible when that happens for
Yeah.
me, and I think, "Oh my gosh, it's that situation or that combination of events has always been here, and I just didn't see it in that way."
Yeah.
And now my heart is open to seeing that. Isn't it incredible how, knowing this, how we build up these beliefs in our world since the age of, all our lives really. And then I see prayer as kind of the tool for undoing undoing all of this, unraveling it all
Uh-huh.
like a ball of wool.
Well, it opens us to new choices if we're not looking to be better or want something else. We're not going to see what's in the way. And I think that's
Yes.
part of the answer that comes from prayer, is that awareness of what we're doing or believing that's stopping us from what we really desire, or how we wish to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it feels like I saw a trailer for a movie the other day. There's a new movie coming out. I thought, oh, it looks really great, of a woman, Imelda Swinton, I think. She gets a genie and she has 3 wishes in a lamp. And the whole movie is about her 3 wishes. I want to watch that movie. And it feels like sometimes a prayer, it's kind of like, oh, is this a placebo effect? Am I just believing that it's, am I believing in the belief that it will, is this a fake belief? And I'm believing in it, but not really believing in it, just believing that it will happen because I want it to happen. Or is there's something deeper that's happening, whereas this isn't magic, this is the way that life works. And when we're aligned with that, and we're aligned with this truth, that our worlds can completely change when we allow this way of practicing this prayer, of praying in this way and connecting to what we're already connected to. Yeah.
Well, the power is in the mind and in the belief. And I think that is a major ingredient. You believe, and that's what sets it in motion, and that's what creates it. They say the placebo effect. They've done the experiments where they've oh darn it, what's the word? Surgery on people's knees. And they've done the surgery for real on some and just cut them and didn't change anything on others. And based on the belief, a lot of those people that didn't really have the full surgery got better. So the power of belief, I fully believe it. It's it's what creates and puts that power behind that allness that's there working for us. We believe in it. We believe in what can happen, and that's what allows it to manifest.
Right.
And why start doubting that?
Yes.
Is this just a belief or a placebo? And it's like, well, what difference does it matter if you call it a placebo or a miracle, or, hey, my prayer worked? There was belief that got it going,
right,
and it to happen. Yeah.
Because when I think about all of us, those of us here on the call and whoever watches this later, and there's every being on this planet, how we're all making these choices in every moment with different thought processes, wanting different experiences for our lives, and the uniqueness of all of us and how we express. It's just so incredible. I find that just so amazing, and how we can allow, and then by using this practice of prayer, how we can really ground ourselves into this thing that is happening, that I call this, I know this is God. Whatever name we give it, it doesn't really matter, does it? Because it is happening. So how can we actually, do you think the more that we use prayer on a daily basis, the more we're activating our belief for our lives, for these experiences to outpicture?
Yes. It's like building any habit. If you're doing it over and over, it just becomes a part of you. And as you pray and know that connection and know that power that's available to you, you're repeating that, and it just becomes a part of you. And things happen quicker. There's things that I've wanted and thought, well, this is what I need now. And I didn't do a full treatment on it. I just knew this is what I need now. And wow, that's cool. It shows up. because you've got that consciousness going more
Right.
and more. It's part of who you are. You're
Right.
because in that prayer process and the new awarenesses that you get for what's blocking you, those things start to fall away. As you're aware of them, you stop using them, and then this new way of being just starts building on itself, and the belief gets stronger. The manifestations happen all the time, whether they're small or bigger, and it becomes part of who you are. So it's not something a lot of us would love one and done.
Yeah.
And then everything works and I have it, and that works on some things, but as you're building this consciousness, that building and praying, it just expands to work stronger. It's just not a one and done thing. I don't have the consciousness yet for one and done.
No.
I like the feeling of the spiritual mind treatment, so I'm not sure I want a full, my life is rainbows. It's nice thought. It would be great, but I like the challenge of embracing life and working through these things and becoming more, so that my energy shifts other energy.
Yes.
As we build our consciousness, we touch the consciousness of those around us, and then they touch others. It's the, what they call it, butterfly effect, or just
Yes.
goes out.
And there was a piece that I was going to say there, because you talked about rainbows, and I've always got this rainbow behind me, but I realize this rainbow, there's always polarity, isn't there? There's always we have these amazing things happening in our lives, and then there is the other piece where we have this seeming challenge, because I've never met anybody whose life in all areas, in every single area, is really running smoothly and everything in order. There's always something that is here for us to work on, or to grow, or to expand in our consciousness, so that we can reach that next stage and then have another challenge or another stepping stone. And then they're gifts for me. I see them as gifts, because they're growing me along the journey of life.
And don't you believe that that's happening now because you have been praying and building your consciousness? So now, as these things come up, one, you can put them right into treatment, but
Yeah.
the other piece is you're responding more than reacting, because it's
Yes.
how you're looking at the challenge, where and sometimes you're going to react. I mean, we're going to go, I can't believe this is going on, or something more forceful. But then but then you'll come back and go, oh, wait a minute. This is not the end of the world, and you take it into prayer, and you find solutions. And that becomes, I think it becomes easier, where we're able to address the deeper things, because we've built the consciousness and that habit of prayer and that connection to God, and that power that supports us and guides us. That
Yes.
when these things come up, they're not the end of the world like they were before.
Right. And we're deepening our faith at the same time, of course, and our conviction in that, as you said in the very beginning here, that in that invisible power that we know is always here. And leaning into that with faith is a great thing, because as you said, it's that surrendering and letting go piece, that I've done my piece, I'm taking the action, and I can allow this to be now. I don't have to keep picking at it to test it out, to see if it's working.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, Reverend Laura. Sorry, carry on.
I'm thinking about, the things in my life, but if my life's going really good, then I'm going to see something out here, and where it would have devastated me at one point,
Right.
then I can see it in a different light, and be able to come from a place to show love instead of anger or despair. And that, I think, for the rest of the world is part of the point of doing our own prayer work.
Yes. And something happened for me also today, and I realized, because I was getting myself into a place of blame, not of myself, of another. And I realized that I was, by blaming another in my mind, I'm only blaming myself, because we're one. And I took that back and took responsibility, and then did a treatment, a spiritual mind treatment, to know that actually there is no blame here. I can allow this to be and lift myself from this situation and look for good right now. And that, it just shifted everything for me from that moment on when I finished the prayer. So it is instantaneous, isn't it? We can make that shift instantaneously from treating.
Yeah, you can feel it go through your whole body. And that's a big indicator when you let go of the blame and can look and see, this is just something that happened, and that's how I responded. And it lets all that energy go, and we can release it and let it go and move on and improve the relationship, not see it deteriorate because we decided it's their fault. You know?
Yeah. Which is very easy to do, to look outside at others and say it's your fault. And that wouldn't, for me, I believe that's not going to be the way that we inspire a world that's filled with love.
No, there's, when we blame or find fault with someone else, then they're going to resist that, and it's just going to keep us stuck. And because they're defending, well, it's not my fault, and this was, and you get stuck in that trap, and or whatever that circumstance is, and it's going, okay, this just is, it's no one's fault. We have to come to a place of love, and I need to shift my consciousness, my knowing that it's love. I'm part of this. It's not helping me to blame.
Right.
There's lazy times, like I said, it's much easier to blame. It's like, it's not my fault. I don't want any responsibility. But we're all one. We're all involved in every interaction. So we all have a part in whatever happened. And it really is, what do we do after we realize, oh, I'm blaming? And then you can find your part and shift, and do a prayer to help yourself shift.
And the beautiful thing, as you talked on earlier, is that for communication, how spiritual mind treatment can really be such an incredible tool and asset for our relationships, because really we're in relationship with everything, aren't we? And every person that we come across, we're in relationship with them. So when we treat, if there is a misalignment, we don't, not, it's only us that needs to treat.
Right.
Yeah.
And I found that when I do those treatments for communication, it's really, okay, this is what's going on. I know my heart, and let Spirit's words come through me. And I've honestly been amazed at what's come out of my mouth a few times, because it wasn't something that I consciously thought of and made the connection, put the dots together. But when it came out, it was exactly what I was saying, and it was in the words that could be understood. And that's where that power of God comes. It allows me to speak and be understood, where sometimes, my words can be confusing. And so having that extra power running through me consciously is wonderful. I love it.
Oh, wow. Yes. Thank you for reminding me and reminding us here that spiritual mind treatment can be used for anything in our lives. Absolutely anything and everything. It's not contained to certain areas or certain things. It can be used for any way that we desire to grow and expand and have a different experience of this life and see it differently and feel it differently.
Yes. And knowing that we are all one, and being open to what we're desiring, what we're treating for, to not look the way we think it needs to look.
Right.
Because we're involved with everything here, and the pieces that fall into place for what we desire may not be the pieces we want. It's kind of open it up to the feeling, the experience you want to have, but don't limit it to one thing.
Right.
The universe, God, spirit, has so many varied ways to give us what we desire. And I've tried this. When you were talking about it earlier, I thought, because I was a computer programmer, so there's flow charts, and I'm thinking, how does God do this? How does God know this piece over here is going to talk to this piece over here to have this happen? And there's 7 billion pieces. And I'm going, thank goodness I don't have to know, because
yes,
my brain would explode. But I know that it all just, that energy goes out, that desire goes out, and it's, the basic law of attraction. They're going to find each other, but we have to be open to however it looks, and
yes,
and aware, and be willing to accept it. Be willing to accept that it's green when you wanted red, because it gave you the same feeling and experience, but it just wasn't red. So you still want to
right,
take green when it comes,
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, wow, that's so powerful. And as you were saying that, I was really feeling that, the 7 billion all one. And when people make mistakes or do things that we think are really hard to understand in our hearts, as you were saying that, I was really feeling the love of how, as one, we can hold this beautiful blanket of love for all of us,
Mm-hmm.
even those that do not know what they are doing, on some level. Yeah.
And I've just learned, and it's been what I've taught, but I've embraced it within my heart, that within every person that I am not happy with what they're doing, or it's something terrible, that God spark is still in there, that is still an expression of the divine. And for whatever has happened in the life, there's fear, something has happened that they have separated and forgotten that. And all of these things are some way of trying to get that feeling of power and connection, and they're just very misdirected.
Yeah.
And that's where I can come from and pray and say, this is in you. I know this light is here, and I see that you're recognizing it, that it is growing. And just know that. And that shifts my energy from being angry with something that's happened. And
Yes.
then, okay, there is God in there, and somehow it's got to be expanded. And I think we'll all be doing that as we're able and ready. But it's a journey, and some
Yes.
of us have more challenging journeys than others. or haven't met the right person that inspired them to let go of their fear or hate.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Yeah.
And I really love what you're saying, and I feel so filled up with gratitude for who you are and what you're doing, because I can feel that that's infectious. What you're talking about is us all opening our hearts to being that love, even if we don't agree with it or feel good about it. Knowing that love is unconditional, and it's the love of the divine that loves each and every one of us. And we can work on our personal feelings through treatment. We can work on that personal human side through treatment as well, can't we? We can evolve our human nature through using prayer too.
And really that's all we can do. We can control ourselves. We can expand our own expression, our own understanding of life, and that's where our power is. And our arenas may grow as our understanding grows, but if my arena is just in my own family, by me shifting how I am and knowing my worth and my desire, then that expands around me. But I can't change anyone in that circle. All I can do is shift who I am and allow that to touch them. And then they can decide if that's something that resonates. But I can't go out there and fix the whole world. I don't have that power. I mean, some people have the power to make the bigger decisions, but every person that makes those inroads in their own life shifts how the world is.
Yes.
And I used to I just want to be that amazing, make these big things in life that I have to do something that is world renowned. And I realized just being who I am and doing what I do, I impact the world.
Yes.
And I'm amazed at times when something's come back around and I've totally shifted a person's idea, and I'm going, well, that was just common sense to me.
Right.
You never know when that is going to make an impression on someone. And as we pray and connect to the divine more and more, we build that consciousness within us and we live it. And we say things that are common sense that someone else may never have even thought of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Amazing. Wow. Reverend Laura, thank you so much for being here today on the Cosmic Prayer. I could go and make a cup of tea and be here for about another hour with you. And yet I know there is another program in about 7 minutes time here on the network. So I'm going to just I'm just going to very quickly check to see if, and yes, Wayne is here, of course. And Sylvia, welcome to the Cosmic Prayer. Beautiful discussion. Thank you, Sylvia, for being here and being present. And Wayne, there we are. Thank you for. There we are. We all have nice thoughts. Yes, that's what we're aiming for, to have every thought being a thought of perfection and divinity and love and peace. And I didn't make a banner. I had a little bit of internet blipping before the show, so I didn't make a banner for Reverend Laura. So I'm just going to write that here now, and then maybe Reverend Laura, would you care to share a prayer with me here on the Cosmic Prayer?
I would love to. I would love to.
Okay, so I'm just going to put this in here first, then I can put that up and show it. So I'm just going to center us in here and welcome and invite those that are here and watching right now, if it's safe for you to do so, to close your eyes just for a couple of minutes as we center into this idea of treatment, spiritual mind treatment for peace and harmony and joy and love and well-being, as I know that this one divine presence that is here, always has been and always will be, is the eternal and infinite, unchanging love. It's the foundation, the isness of all life, that is living as the idea of itself in, as, and through everything, everything, everything. From the multiverses and the suns and the stars and the moons and the planets, to every being here on planet Earth and every piece of nature and everything that we create as human beings, every animal, every sentient being, down to the tiniest microscopic, unseen, the quanta consciousness that is the consciousness, the ground of being of everything. This is divinity. This is God expressing itself as all of it. And I know that I am a part of this. I am united as this. I too am this, as so is Reverend Laura. And each and every one here, right now on the call or at any given time, and every being, of course, we are one as one, connected. And so I pass this prayer on to Reverend Laura now, knowing love.
And I settle into this oneness, this connection, feeling that peace and power that is the divine, lifting me, filling each one of us, knowing that this world is blessed with every heartbeat. God is in every cell. God is in every thought. And I know as we see the world, there is only good. There is light and love, and I know that peace is blossoming in every moment, that those who are hurting are uplifted and held in the arms of the divine and taken into the hearts of all those who are with them. All of us who look out on the world and see what is there and know that God is in that too, and that we are the uplifting. Through our hearts and our minds, we uplift this whole world through our love, through our knowing that we are all connected and that God is always working for our good. I know that this time is a time of love and growth and expansion. And these challenges allow us to see who we are, who we can be, and to express each day more and more deeply from that love that lives within us, that love that is God expressing through us. I know God is in everything, and I am so grateful for that presence. I'm grateful for that power. I'm grateful for the good that is possible and the good that is unfolding in every moment. I'm grateful for this life and love and for the ability to connect through prayer to let this love expand. And knowing that God is always here, waiting and ready, I release this word into that law, knowing that God has said yes. It's already here in spirit and it is manifesting in the world. And I let go, I let God, and know that it is already done. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Reverend Laura. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. And for that wonderful prayer. For anybody that would like to connect with you, I can put your email, I will put your email into the text at the underneath this. So if anybody wants to know more about you and your work and what you're doing, and any counseling or prayer practitioner work, or to come to your center, I'll put all those details in underneath.
That would be great. Thank you. And thank you for letting me be here. I love expanding that consciousness and talking about prayer. It's good stuff.
Oh, yes. And you're welcome here anytime, Reverend Laura, to come back and share, because I know you have amazing teachings and inspirations for our guests here on the Cosmic Prayer and on the network. So thank you too for everybody watching. Of course, I'm going to just pop this up as I always do for you to support, inviting you to support our network here, which is really more than a network. We are a global virtual ministry, sharing these teachings every single day of the year in different ways through entertainment and education and programming like this, and broadcasts and conversations that inspire us to go deeper and to say yes to taking that commitment to ourselves, to these practices and these teachings. So there's our donate button for you to click on the website. And I will be back next week with the Cosmic Prayer, and of course in the week with the Global Love Meditation. And please stay here now, because we have a practical prayer program broadcast coming up after this, and Bonnie Gonzalez after that with Your Doula for Grief. So we have really exciting programs and broadcasts for the rest of this day. And that is it for today. Love and blessings. And I'll see you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.